Lake Ontario off to your left. The Great Lakes system, meaning all 5 Great Lakes, which I'll recap here in a minute, have 21% of the world's total freshwater supply. If you took all of the water in the Great Lakes, it would cover, get this, the entire North American continent in 3.5 feet of water. So the biggest question I always get is, where is all this water coming from? And it's all the runoff. It's the rainwater runoff. It's the snow melt. Basically, the entire North American continent from the Continental Divide that runs into the river systems and then eventually makes its way into the Great Lakes. Then it makes its way into Niagara River, and then it falls all over Niagara Falls. So, coming up on the canal, Niagara means in modern terms, thundering waters. In the Indians' day, it meant strait, and that's because Niagara River is a strait, and there's no other tributaries coming into that river. It's just the water out of Lake Erie. Okay, here is, let's look for a ship. Yeah, there's one in the lock over here. There's a ship in the lock over here on the right. Don't see any ships to the left, but this is all man-made. All of this was man-made. One of the biggest engineering feats. You can see the lock. That's cool. Second time in a row I've seen a ship in the lock. Yeah, it goes by pretty quick. You can kind of look behind you and still see it a little bit. But that's how the ships get from Lake Ontario to Lake Erie without going in the falls, because they wouldn't make it. Will people make it? If you are listening to the video, you're not very happy with your life right now. Actually, how many vineyards there are? And this is boomed. I mean, it takes a little while to get a vineyard going, but here over the past 20 years, there's really been an effort to grow the wine industry in this area. They've been very, very successful, as you can see. And some good wine too, because I can say that where I live, like, there's some places in the United States that have no business growing wine, but they do it anyway. They're like, taste our wonderful wine, and you taste it and you're like, ugh, oh my God, this is awful. But this is one of the areas that they actually do some pretty nice wine. Better than you would think. Of course, California, our friends from California live in one of the best regions in North America for winemaking. Anybody been to Napa or Sonoma? If you ever have a chance to go, that's some of the best wine that we make in North America. Yeah. Okay, so now we're kind of beginning to come into the main part of Niagara on the lake. You'll see the lake over there to the left. Golf course. Beautiful little homes. This is the main street. You're gonna see a tower in the middle of the road, and it's a cenotaph, a memorial to the people in this area that have fallen in all sorts of wars, but mainly the World Wars, World War I and World War II. That's what that clock tower in the middle of the street is gonna be about. But it's a beautiful little town. It's expensive though. These bed and breakfasts in this town and these restaurants are pretty pricey. And we used to bring our groups here, but to be honest, nobody could find lunch for less than like $30, which nobody really wanted to pay, and everything's sit down. But isn't it gorgeous? Like, look at all the flowers and nice little shops and everything. They have nice shops, but they're not cheap. It's very, very expensive. Here's the clock tower, cenotaph. They also have a theater up here that does a festival for the author and playwright George Bernard Shaw. They call it the Shaw Festival. that they have every year. Beautiful little city park over here to the left. Prince of Wales Hotel. I think it only cost about $400 a night to stay there. But isn't it pretty? Be a nice little... Remember, you've got honeymooners here. So, I mean, they love, you know, this is where they want to stay for their honeymoons, or all these bed and breakfasts. Little towns like this. Gorgeous flowers. Go to some wineries, have some lunch. Makes for a nice day. But, you know, I'm just kind of bringing you up here just because we're kind of getting a little bit of a better view of just a little bit more than just the falls. And I mean, yeah, we want you to see the falls, but I want you to see a little bit about the area as well. This is the Shaw Theater over here to the right. And the Fort George is going to be over here to the left. You'll see the cannon. This is a National Historic Site for Canada. And it's over here to the left for the fort. It's kind of behind the trees. I think we get a little bit of a better view once these trees go away. And it opens up a little bit. You can see more of it behind you through this field. Yeah, right here. You can see the fort. So the Americans come and destroy this. So everything that you see is pretty much rebuilt. But I guess that's better than nothing, you know, to have a representation of what happened. Lots of school groups obviously come and visit that, learn about the war. So we have a little surprise coming up. It was so much fun. Pretty much every attraction we did. This is one of the big wineries, Peller Estates, coming up here on the right. You'll see their name on bottles all over the place, particularly for the ice wine. Peller and Enniskillen are the big ones that have very, very large distribution. So that's their original farmhouse. A mansion. That's not a farmhouse, that's a mansion. And obviously it's one of those bed and breakfasts. You can stay there now. You can see the white tent out there. That's for weddings and special events. So, big wedding business out here. But anyway, that's the first time I came here to Niagara Falls, 9 or 10 years old. We did everything. I came again with my boyfriend, soon to video where they were talking about, you know, how do you build a bridge like this, because the water is so swift that you can't stabilize anything in the current long enough to build the bridge. And they finally figured out with kites they could build it. This kind of rocky stuff right here to our immediate left in the gorge, there used to be a power plant there, but it kind of fell off the face of the earth and is no more. I don't think it's been there since the 1940s or something like that. This is the bridge crossing that we will do going out of town and back into the United States tomorrow. The busiest bridge crossing is over Rainbow Bridge. All right, now you are looking at the New York side. The first waterfalls that's coming up is American Falls, but very quickly, there's this Chinese restaurant over here. Do not eat there. Do not eat there. They have horrible, horrible sanitation. You will get sick, and I don't want to take you to the hospital. Okay, here on the left is American Falls. Woo! Stands at 58 meters, 190 feet. The curve in front is 460 meters or 1,400 feet. There's actually two falls. The wider falls is American Falls. Then you see a little bitty rock face. That's actually called Lunar Cliff. And then the smaller little falls that you'll see is Bridal Veil Falls. So the whole falls, American Falls over here, is really two waterfalls. And yeah, it's awesome. So the front of that waterfall fell off in the 1950s. 1954, there was a little curved protrusion, and that's all that broken rock that you see at the bottom fell down in the 1950s. So get this, they stopped the water to American Falls. The water stopped flowing in 1969 so that the Corps of Engineers could investigate whether they would remove all that rock at the bottom of the falls. You can't see the rock from here, but you will see it. And they determined that it would just be too expensive and take too long, so they turned the water back on again, and it flows over, but for like 3 months. Can you imagine that? Lunar Cliff, where you see the rock between these two falls. They call it Lunar Cliff because we get lunar rainbows. You guys know about the big rainbows, the traditional day rainbows, but this is one of the rare places in the world that if the conditions are just perfect, in the fall, it's usually only in our autumn season, it's only when there's a full moon, and it's only when the conditions are perfect you can find a moonbow that I've never seen. And I actually live in a place that has moonbows close to my house, but they're really, really hard to find. Okay, so this is the boardwalk here, the sidewalk pavement area. You can walk all up and down here, take as many pictures as you want. The big piece of land that is between the American Falls and Horseshoe Falls is called Goat Island. Oh, and it looks like they finally finished their project. They've kind of had it torn up over here on this end that has the grass, but looks like they're getting that back together now. You'll never guess why they call it Goat Island. There used to be goats there. There you go, real original name. And then you have the Horseshoe Falls, which for the exception of only about a foot, that is at this very far left side closest to Goat Island State Park in New York. All of this falls is in Canada. Everything else you see is in New York State. The circumference on the top of this fall, it's hard for me to even believe, is a mile. A mile from one side to the other. This is the falls everybody goes over, and almost 70% of them have lived. Nobody's crazy enough. Nobody's crazy enough to go over American Falls. This is the Table Rock Visitor Center right here. And on this side, we just passed the ticket booth for Journey to the Falls. And this is the Upper Niagara. So we've been looking at the Lower Niagara. This is the Upper Niagara. And it's actually quite shallow. It's only like 1 foot, 2 feet deep before the water ends up going over the falls. But I think it's spectacular. I really like the view. Really, really pretty. So the Canadian Falls is 52 meters tall, about 170 feet. The crest is almost a wide mile, or 675 meters. So this is why people don't die. The depth of the river at the base is 56 meters, or 184 feet. So the river is really, really deep where that water is falling. And this was first described and founded for the very first time in 1721. And did you know that the very first picture in North America ever was taken of Niagara Falls? Very first photograph was taken of Niagara Falls by a French missionary in the 1790s. They didn't know they had camera then. It must have been really, really primitive. Okay, so if you're interested, over here on your right, this is a really nice place to be able to walk to. This is the floral showcase, only $5 admission. If you want to see that special flower. And all of this area, if you take this little walkway up here, which I hope you will because it's really easy, like this old abandoned building that you'll see here on the right as we make this turn, that's all part of the old hydro power plant facilities. None of this is used anymore. They have more modern facilities, but you're going to see some little areas up here that are for the hydroelectricity. That's also what this other building on the left-hand side is for as well. So you can walk up here. And we'll try to get a view. Keep looking to the right. There's a boat out here. Sometimes we can see it a little bit better upstream. Looking for my boat. Look kind of behind you up here on the river. There's a boat lodged in the water. There it is right there. I now can see it. It'll come into view. See that boat?
Oh, yeah.
That boat has been there for over 100 years. It's unbelievable to me that the current doesn't wash it down. But it's got water in the bottom of it, and it's just lodged between the rocks where it just never moves. It was there when I was a kid. It's been here forever. I mean, over 100 years. But yeah, I think this is, wow, what a day. Fantastic view, right? Okay, so I know you guys maybe have been somewhat thinking, like, when were we ever going to get here? Trust me, 2.5 hours of time is a long time to look at these waterfalls, but it's a highlight of your trip. You've got a beautiful day. Plenty of time to get you a snack, get you a lunch, walk around as much as you want, souvenir shop. view of it. That's the Skylon Tower. So, Frankenstein, Ripley's Moving Ride, Legends of Rock Wax Museum. So this is kind of the tacky, touristy part of town. So this can be fun if you're into this kind of thing. There are some restaurants though. This is Kelsey's Bar and Grill. A lot of people have gone to Kelsey's. There's an Italian restaurant. And then be down here for the illuminations if you're interested. Illuminations just means they light up the falls in different colors. And then the fireworks will be tonight at 10 o'clock. And you know, they're only like 5 or 7 minutes. But you're at Niagara Falls, you might as well take it in. And don't worry about being tired tomorrow. We basically sit on the bus anyway most of the day. So wear yourself out, that's what I have to say. You can sleep tomorrow on the coach. Some more restaurants up through here. Victoria Avenue is where we are right now. Outback Steakhouse, TGI Fridays, Hooters, The Keg. This place is really good. Not the cheapest in the world, but awesome steaks. Denny's, I would go to Hooters over Denny's. Denny's isn't very good. Anyway, lots of restaurants. Now,